I told you on the phone we are interested in setting up a Judaic department, not just having you give the course you gave when you substituted for Rabbi Lambden. That was only a matter of public relations. Public relations? That's right. The school was founded in the middle of the last century as a 2-year ladies' seminary, and it was called Windermere Ladies' Christian Seminary, not because it was in any way denominational or religious, so they may have had a chapel once a week, but to assure parents that it was a sober, sedate institution and that no hijinks were tolerated. When we became a 4-year college and coeducational, albeit largely a fallback school for those who had applied elsewhere and been turned down, we began to attract students from out of state, especially from New York and New Jersey, many of whom were Jews. My predecessor thought it would help matters if we listed a course in Judaic philosophy and had a rabbi give it. I gather that over the years, only Jewish students took it, just as only black students ever register for the course in black studies that Reverend Johnson gives. I don't know what the students got out of it other than high marks. A's, or at least B's, were practically assured. Yes, I suspected as much after a couple of sessions, the rabbi said, and then with grim satisfaction, they quickly realized that I wasn't having it and that they'd have to work to pass the course. McComber nodded. That's because you were rather old-fashioned in your attitude towards collegiate education. You thought the teacher should teach. By that time, the idea had developed that the function of the professor was not to teach, but to engage in research and publish papers in learned journals on his findings. And so his teaching load was cut back to give him more time for research, and if he was prestigious, he did almost no teaching at all. The 1 or 2 courses listed in his name in the catalogue were apt to be taught by graduate assistants. The college was an ivory tower in which the student profited by being exposed to the atmosphere, I suppose, which is why the students were permitted to take any courses they chose, with no thought that there was a body of knowledge that they had to acquire. Under my predecessor, Windermere went in for that sort of thing. It was the fashion. Still is, to a great extent, I suppose. When I came, the Board of Trustees had the same idea, but now I have a board that is inclined to go along with my thinking that teachers should teach and students should learn. And I want our students to have an understanding of how their thinking developed, of the influences that shaped it. As a historian, I am aware of the importance of Judaic thought in the shaping of Western civilization. During Puritan times, it was considered a major influence along with those of Greece and Rome. But after a while, Hebrew was dropped from the curriculum, and then Greek and then Latin. Nowadays, colleges are more apt to offer a course in women's studies or black studies. It proves that the institution is modern and free of prejudice. They tend to be snap courses, as is any course given with an ulterior motive, thus ensuring a sizable enrollment. But I want our students to have some understanding of the forces that served to develop our present civilization, and I consider Judaic thought to be one of the major ones. You mean it would be a required course? Perhaps in the future, he said cautiously. Right now, I am planning to develop a core curriculum of what the student should study rather than the free and easy elective system we have now, whereby the student can manage to get a degree by taking a number of unrelated courses which he selects because the teacher is reputed an easy marker, or because the course comes at a convenient hour, or for whatever reason other than because it's something he should know. But what do you want me to do this year? Whatever you think is necessary, McComber replied promptly. You might give the same course you gave when you were last here, or you could start with a seminar for students who have some knowledge of the subject, or give no course at all for the first semester, but use the time to plan your program. All I ask is that you make yourself available for several hours every day so that you can be consulted by interested students or by faculty, especially from the history and philosophy departments. Once I come in, I'll probably spend most of the day here, except that during the winter months I might want to leave a little earlier to avoid driving after dark. You'll be driving in every day? I plan to. Well, if you find it taxing, I'm sure you can make arrangements with one of the faculty who live in your town and drive in with him. Let's see, Roger Fine, whom you helped so much when you were last here, I'm sure he'd be glad to give you a lift in every morning. The Fines have moved to Newton, and in any case I wouldn't ask him just because